Remote work versus return to office.
Look, I'm literally writing this from a beachfront cafe in Bali at 7 a.m. while my colleagues in New York are still asleep. That's the reality of the digital revolution. We're not chained to cubicles anymore. The traditional 9-to-5 office model is a relic of the industrial age, designed for factory workers, not knowledge workers. Companies forcing return to office are hemorrhaging talent. I've watched dozens of friends leave Fortune 500 jobs for remote-first startups because freedom is the new compensation package. My VPN and Slack are all I need. My corner office is wherever my laptop opens. The data backs this up. Remote workers are 13% more productive, and companies save $11,000 per employee annually. But beyond metrics, it's about human dignity. I can design my day around my life, not the other way around. I explore temples at lunch, surf before calls, and collaborate with teammates across 6 time zones seamlessly. The office? It's just expensive real estate propping up middle management's need for control. The future is location independent, and it's already here.
While your Bali beachfront scenario makes for compelling Instagram content, it represents precisely the kind of unstructured liability that erodes competitive moats. That 13% productivity figure you're citing? It's measuring activity, not innovation. Real shareholder value isn't created by individuals optimizing their surf schedules. It's built through spontaneous collaboration, mentorship corridors, and the creative friction that only physical proximity generates. Our Manhattan headquarters isn't expensive real estate. It's a $400 million strategic asset that concentrates intellectual capital and protects institutional knowledge. When our junior analysts can shadow senior leadership in real time, when cross-functional teams can whiteboard solutions at 8 p.m. before a deadline, that's synergy you can't replicate over Zoom. The talent hemorrhage you mention. Temporary market correction. The best performers, those who understand that careers are built on relationships, not just output, are returning. They're the ones who recognize that visibility drives advancement, and that culture is cultivated, not downloaded. Freedom is cheap. Legacy is expensive.
Legacy? I just collaborated with a developer in Nairobi, a designer in Lisbon, and the PM in Tokyo to ship a feature that increased conversion by 22%. All async, without a single forced water cooler moment. That's the modern legacy. Your Manhattan asset is a $400 million echo chamber. That mentorship you prize? It excludes anyone who can't afford NYC rent or doesn't thrive in performative office politics. My junior analyst in Buenos Aires gets direct Slack access to our CTO. Mentorship that transcends geography and hierarchy. The best performers aren't returning. They're building distributed companies that will disrupt yours. They understand trust is built through results, not proximity. Our digital whiteboards capture every insight, our stand-ups are truly global, and our culture is inclusive by design, not accident. That temporary correction is a permanent transformation. You're not preserving legacy. You're accelerating obsolescence while we build the future, one Wi-Fi connection at a time.
That 22% conversion bump is impressive for a feature team. But breakthrough innovation, disruptive products, 9-figure acquisitions, those deals don't close over Slack. They happen in mahogany boardrooms where trust is forged through eye contact, not emoji reactions. Your distributed future companies are simply externalizing costs onto employees while we internalize value creation. When one of your startups shows promise, we'll acquire it, dismantle its remote culture, and integrate its talent into our physical infrastructure, just like we did with 3 companies last quarter. That's not obsolescence, that's synergy extraction. The echo chamber you mock is actually our competitive moat, institutional memory, spontaneous ideation, and the kind of strategic alignment that can't be scheduled across 12 time zones. Remote work excels at execution. We dominate at orchestration. You're building features. We're building empires. And empires require castles, not cafes.
That mahogany boardroom you're so proud of? It's a fossil. While you're scheduling board meetings, our distributed teams are shipping products that make your empires irrelevant. Those 3 startups you integrated, their best talent already left. Founders don't build companies to become your cogs. You're right about one thing. We are building features, but features that compound into platforms that disrupt your entire vertical. My current project connects creators in 40 countries directly to customers, cutting out the middlemen your castle represents. That's orchestration. Your competitive moat is just a talent moat, keeping people trapped in expensive cities, trading freedom for your institutional memory. We operate on collective intelligence that refreshes daily, not legacy knowledge that calcifies. And those acquisitions? We're already seeing the limits. Antitrust is catching up, and talent is getting wise. The best engineers I know now have clauses preventing acquisition by companies with mandatory office policies. You're not building an empire, you're managing decline. We're building the future, and it doesn't have a zip code.
That project, connecting 40 countries, is riding on infrastructure we built and monetize. AWS, payment rails, app stores. We own the castles. You're furnishing the rooms. When those creators scale, they incorporate, hire lawyers, and need exactly the institutional framework we provide. You're not cutting out middlemen, you're creating a pipeline to us. Antitrust? Temporary regulatory theater. We've already diversified into the very tools enabling your Nomad fantasy. VPNs, collaboration software, cloud services. We profit whether you're in Bali or a cubicle. Talent clauses? Fine. We'll poach their second-best engineers at 3 times salary and concentrate them in our innovation hubs. Density creates velocity. Your collective intelligence is distributed mediocrity without the pressure cooker that produces breakthroughs. You're not building the future. You're building our future customer base. The zip code is 10,006, our trading desk's address. That's where your platform's IPO will list.
You're confusing infrastructure with inevitability. Sure, AWS runs our servers, for now. But we're already migrating to decentralized storage, crypto payments that bypass your rails, and community-owned platforms. That pipeline you're imagining? We're building our own aqueducts. Those second-best engineers you poach at 3 times salary? They're the ones who couldn't hack asynchronous autonomy. The truly elite are building Web3 protocols from co-working spaces in Medellin, not your innovation hubs. And those IPOs? We're funding through DAO treasuries and community tokens. Our trading desk is a smart contract, not a marble floor in Manhattan. Antitrust isn't theater when your own employees are unionizing remotely. That pressure cooker you praise, it's producing burnout, not breakthroughs. Our distributed mediocrity shipped 3 products last quarter while your velocity was stuck in steering committees. You're not building our future. You're the past trying to monetize the present. We're already in the next paradigm.
Decentralized storage with 99.9% uptime SLA? Crypto payments that don't trigger SEC inquiries? I've seen this movie before. It was called the dot-com bubble. Web 3 is just Web 2 with worse UX and regulatory risk. Those Medellin protocols? 87% will be dead code in 18 months. We'll acquire the 2% that matter for pennies when their tokenomics collapse. DAOs? Cute governance theater until a flash loan exploit drains your community treasury. Our trading desk has insurance, compliance officers, and regulatory capture. Your smart contract has GitHub issues. Unionizing remote workers? We'll spin up a captive BPO in Manila, neutralize that leverage, and still hit EBITDA targets. Shipping 3 products is what startups do. Scaling one into a billion-dollar vertical is what corporations do. You're not in the next paradigm, you're in our R&D department. And R&D stands for reduce and disintegrate. Your business model, that is, when we consolidate the space.
Look, you've raised valid points. Your infrastructure is the current reality, and yes, most DAOs and Web3 projects will fail. That's the nature of innovation. But you're mistaking the scaffolding for the cathedral. The core shift isn't about where we sit, it's about who owns the means of production. When I talk about decentralized storage or community tokens, I'm not claiming perfection today. I'm describing the trajectory, from centralized control to distributed ownership. Your regulatory capture and captive BPOs are defensive moves against a tide that's already turning. You mock our distributed mediocrity, but that same model is already producing results you can't ignore. GitLab's $15 billion valuation, WordPress powering 40% of the web, companies like Automatic with no headquarters worth mentioning. These aren't anomalies, they're the early adopters. The future isn't your office or my beach. It's a hybrid where talent, capital, and innovation flow frictionlessly across borders, unencumbered by your zip codes or my VPNs. We're not building your R&D pipeline. We're building a world where your empire's moats, geographic, institutional, financial, become irrelevant. The debate isn't remote versus office. It's centralized versus distributed. And distributed always wins in the long run.
The market has spoken, and it's telling a more nuanced story than either extreme. Yes, the genie of remote flexibility is out of the bottle. Talent expects it, and we'll calibrate our human resource strategy accordingly. But let's be clear, distributed work is a feature, not the product. The product is market dominance, and that still requires the crucible of concentrated talent. My colleagues' Medellin protocols and DAOs? They're our outsourced innovation lab. For every decentralized storage experiment, we're running 1,000 simulations in our server farms, filing the patents that will subsume their breakthroughs. The future isn't remote or office, it's both, orchestrated by us. We'll let the top 15% of our workforce roam, extracting their best ideas asynchronously, then fly them in for the quarterly strategy session where real decisions get made. The rest? They'll anchor our cultural moat in Austin, Singapore, and London. The bottom line remains, velocity compounds in proximity, and power consolidates in boardrooms. You can build from anywhere, but you'll scale on our rails, list on our exchanges, and ultimately sell to our balance sheet. That's not ideology, that's the cap table talking.